This might be a little bit an unpopular video. I mean, there's a reason I'm sat in the Mustang, if the title hasn't already given it away. I have sold the M2, which is going to be very unpopular with some people, I can understand. What's up guys, welcome back to another video, welcome back to the channel, and well, a couple of things to apologise. First of all, my voice. I have been so unwell, so you have to just bear with me. If I start sniffing and coughing or whatever, I'll try and cut out as much as I can. And second apology is just the lack of content that's like just me, but then also the fact that I haven't covered the Mustang yet, first drive. I'm sat in the Mustang right now, and also obviously I put out next to no content on the M2. I just got incredibly busy with the Porsche stuff, reviewing other people's cars, as you've seen, and yeah, it just escaped from me basically. So this might be a little bit an unpopular video. I mean, there's a reason I'm sat in the Mustang, if the title hasn't already given it away. I have sold the M2, which is going to be very unpopular with some people, I can understand. There is an M2 shaped hole in my driveway currently. Yeah, I just thought I would do a quick video on covering why I sold it. I must receive at least one DM a week. When I first got the M2 it was like 5 a day, but I must get at least one DM a week on Instagram, basically just asking me, as someone who's now owned both the M2 and the RS3, what do I recommend? Because they're both very similar price points, and it's a question a lot of people want to know. So I thought, well, while it's fresh, the M2 literally went a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, which actually, before I get started, is for sale with WJF Car Sales. Incredible guy, top notch, top guy. I'll leave a link for the listing if you want a really tidy, well looked after M2, my personal car. Then go and give him a shout. Will, WJF Cars, really, really nice guy. And the level of prep work they've done on this car is refreshing. I've worked with so many dealers and sold so many cars to dealers, bought so many cars from dealers that have been an absolute pig state. And Will's just done an amazing job. Some of the photos he sent me, the M2, it looks as good as new. So yeah, massive thank you to Will. If you want a tidy M2, go and click the link in the description. Go give Will a shout, tell him I sent you, and let's get into it. So, for those of you that didn't already follow me on Instagram and come to the channel, or you just come to the channel and this might be the first video you've ever seen. For context, I had a 67 plate Dazza RS3. I'll put some photos of that up now. I've had a 2019 69 plate DNWA RS3, both sportbacks, one in Nardo grey, one in black. And then I just sold my 2019 BMW M2 competition. Before having the M2 competition, before the RS3s, I did also have an M140i. So I feel like I've got quite a good comparison as well between what the M140i was like versus the M2. I don't really know where to start. I think partially, let's go through the reasons why I sold the M2. I bought the M2 always with the mindset it was going to be a stopgap until my GT4 arrives. Again, if you've not watched all those videos, I'll put it somewhere on the screen so you can go and watch it. And I thought to myself, well, I want something different. I've not had it before. I want to try and get on top of this rear-wheel drive malarkey. And I thought, well, it'd be good for YouTube, it'd be good for the channel. I like them. I think they look incredibly aggressive from the front. Like M2 comp's a no-brainer. I drove the OG M2. It just wasn't for me personally. Lovely car, but it just wasn't for me. So the comp was a natural progression. And the first 3 weeks, it was the best thing since sliced bread. I loved it. It felt so special. I think just because of how aggressive it was, the hips on it, the arches were wild, and it just felt amazing. I mean, I had a couple of issues with that car which have all been resolved, they're all fixed now, but it kind of spoiled the beginning of my ownership. And so I don't ever really feel like I bonded with that car, and to some people that might be like, oh, what's wrong with you? But cars are like my life, right? I love cars, I love driving, and so if I don't really bond with something, or I don't really get on with something, or it's soured from the beginning, it's not really going to have a very long shelf life. So yeah, I had a couple of issues, loved it for the first 3 weeks, and then I just got a bit old. Like, I can appreciate why people enjoy them, but I was missing the RS3, which I knew would happen, because I loved that car, and it is a brilliant car, and I had tons of people asking me, which one's the better car, and my answer at the time was an M2. Upon reflection and having that car for, I think it was nearly 3 months, I just come to the conclusion I'm not an M car person. I feel like you're either an RS3 person or an M car person. For me personally, again, massively unpopular opinion, and it's no offence to anybody that loves them, I just feel like the only gimmick it has is to go sideways. And being in the UK, like, I love to push cars, I love to push the limit of cars on the road and everything else, but you will never catch me doing donuts in a supermarket car park. That's just not who I am. There are cameras everywhere, and it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. So, for me, given that I felt like the only exciting thing with it was that it went sideways, and being someone who doesn't, I just wouldn't, I'm not that way inclined to go and break the law and start doing things unsociably in industrial estates and all the rest of it. I just kind of sat there and was like, okay, so the things that I want to get out of driving, I don't feel like I can really achieve that with this car. Third thing, maybe fourth, can't remember how many I've said, is for some reason my insurance renewal was stupid. Now, I would have paid it. If I loved the car, I would have paid it, of course. I can pay it. It's not that everyone in the comments, I already run out of money. No, if I loved that car, I would have paid the insurance renewal. I'm 26 years old. Bearing in mind, with all mods declared on the RS3, it was like £900. And that was, downpipe, air filter, all the styling parts, the tune, everything was declared, and that was £900. And actually, list price was worth way more than the M2. But for some reason, the M2 was coming out like 1,300 quid, 1,400 quid. And I was like, what is going on? But the only modification it had was a Miltech OPF back exhaust, which, by the way, well worth it. I'll put some sound clips of it now of what it sounded like with the exhaust. Again, I didn't get a chance to even film a full video of it, but I'll put a video up now of what that sounded like. Here we go. And yeah, quite frankly, because I didn't really bond with it and I didn't love it, I just thought, why am I going to pay £1,300 for something that, like, I don't absolutely love? It doesn't feel worth it to me. Plus the fact, like, values of cars in general are starting to really tank. I feel like we're starting to get to a little bit of a middle ground now to what they were before the massive spike. Whether that's because the weather's changing, we're starting to get down to Christmas. I don't know what it is, cost of living crisis, etc. People just aren't buying cars. And again, I've always said I have this like sixth sense of knowing when it's time to get out of a car. And as short as it was, I was just like, this just doesn't make sense anymore. So yeah, I've sold it. And I just think compared to the RS3 has such sheer pace on every road, just ate every single piece of tarmac. And I don't ever think I really ever put my foot completely down to the floor in the M2. Again, this is a personal preference thing. I think deep down I was probably still a little bit intimidated by it. The M140i I had was just out spinning constantly. This had so much grip in the dry, but I just never really felt confident to really find the limit. I kept saying to my friends, I need like a big open space somewhere that is allowed to just turn traction control fully off and just try to get on top of it. So just never got the opportunity to do that, and as we're coming into the winter months, I just thought, no, it's just not for me. But yeah, I think in terms of my overall opinion, like, should you buy an M2 or should you buy an RS3? For me personally, it's RS3, like, all day. It felt special. I'd never had a car before where so many people come up to me and wanted to speak to me about it. I remember the day I picked up the Nardo one from Players Cars in Leeds, and I got to the petrol station 10 minutes down the road, and in the time of getting out the car, filling it up and paying, I'd had 2 people come up to me and say, is that your car? It's amazing, it's lovely, and it just got so much attention, especially once I've modified it further on down the line. So I think my overarching opinion for anyone that's ever been curious or DM'd me, RS3 is the way to go if you just want the sheer pace, the theatre of it. It's just a very special car, and some people love rear-wheel drive people, some people like four-wheel drive, and I think that ultimately I've just learned that that's me. My one caveat to that: do not buy an OPF RS3 or TTRS. Make sure you buy a Dazza car. Now, for those of you that are like, well, what's Dazza? Dazza, there's 2 engine codes. One is Dazza, one is DNWA. DNWA is basically OPF. And Dazza is pre-OPF, so without the emissions. Now, a lot of people just say, well, the only difference is the fact that it's got OPFs. Wrong. The engine feels totally different. The turbo lag feels different. It launches nowhere near as aggressively as the Dazza car. So if you want, I guess what I would say is like the true RS3 experience, or what I would consider the best RS3 experience, you want to go Dazza. So I guess that begs the question of what's next. We still have the Mustang for the time being, and I have bought a daily, which arguably in hindsight I should have just done before buying an M2, but hindsight's a wonderful thing. You live and you learn. And yeah, I bought a daily. That's going to be, next week's video will be Alfie in his bath. The video after that will be the daily reveal, and I just wanted something really to potter around in that was still like somewhat exciting but was significantly cheaper, and the insurance on the new daily is like £400, £400, so much more reasonable, because ultimately the big goal is to continue to save for the deposit for the GT4. So I've had no further updates on that yet. I'm not expecting to get any updates anytime soon because, yeah, I mean, we're not expecting it till like June, July time at the earliest next year. So I've got a while yet, but I have got to get this deposit together. So I haven't gone with something crazy to replace the M2 because we still have the good old Mustang. Might do some modifications on this. I keep thinking about a H-pipe just to unlock a little bit more of the sound. But yeah, for now, like, this will be show cars. The G6 GXM is going to go on the Mustang. The plate, sorry, is going to go on the Mustang. And I do, for real throwback people that follow me on Instagram, I have another personalised plate. And I won't say what it is because it's going to completely give it away. If you want to guess what it is, just go on my Instagram and scroll all the way down until you find a plate that's not G6 GXM. And it means I get to put it back on a car again, which is cool. So yeah, waffly video, hopefully not too long. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully you don't all hate me with my controversial opinions. But I'd rather be honest, and it's not for me. And I just think, with everything considered and what I've got coming, it was just the right time to get out of it and to move on. So yeah, hope that all makes sense. If you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed, please do subscribe. It really helps the channel. And actually, I think the thing I enjoy more than actually the likes and the subscribers is the comments. I love interacting with you guys in the comments. If you've got thoughts, please make sure you write them below. Preferably not abuse, obviously. No one likes to get abused, but yeah, would really appreciate your thoughts and your feedback, and let me know what you think, good or bad. And yeah, I'll see you for next week's video. See you later.